That's Twisted.
This is Mark McNeese in New Jersey with my co-host,
Rick Rose in Shreveport, Louisiana.
And you're listening to The Twist. Welcome to The Twist, everybody, America's only clothing optional podcast. Although, Rick, I have a feeling that this is catching on. You know, like, do you think that it's possible that other podcasts are now clothing optional?
I think in general it's just catching on. I think people are viewing life as a clothing optional experience.
Well, and it should be. You know, it's we should wear life like a loose garment. I knew a woman 35 years ago in a certain program who used to say that. She wore her life like a loose garment, and I've always loved that. That's what I try to do. But we were just talking in the green room, which we've had renovated, by the way. Also, I'll put up pictures.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's very cool. And about keeping things in perspective and how, like, health scares and that kind of thing really bring you back to the moment and the fact of what matters and what doesn't matter. Trump's live tweeting, he's imploding. This man is, I'm sorry, but our president is losing his shit. I really think that. And I'm tuned out. I'm not paying any attention to it. He's going to live tweet the Comey stuff. He's like got our military base in Qatar is, you know, the DOJ is flipping out because he just says this insane shit and they can't stop him. And I think he's crazy. So, but that is not what matters in my life or your life. What matters is we woke up today. We're healthy. We have loved ones and friends, and it's time to just live this day.
I like it, Mark. And, you know, speaking of which, the only thing I think in life that should be clothing required is the presidency. I would not like to see clothing optional.
No. He's, you know, and
not for this.
I'm not into body shaming, but he sure could. You could do it with this guy. I know, but he thinks he's so fucking masculine and studly and shit. And come on, man, he's a fucking. I gotta watch my language. He's just a bag of potatoes. He's a sack of potatoes. He's an orange sack of potatoes.
He's nuts.
And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. I know lots of wonderful orange, potato sacks.
No, he's crazy. Well, today's a big day, too. I want to just point out. We got some. Well, first of all, we got to go into our sponsorship because we couldn't have renovated the green room. We couldn't have this conversation. We couldn't even do anything without our sponsor.
That's true. And our sponsor for June, which is so appropriate because it's Pride Month. And I'm going to get to this. It's my big topic today.
Hey, girl. Hey.
Yes. Hey, girl. Hey is LGBT Senior. It's lgbtsr.com. Been going for 6.5 years. Of course, I'm the editor and publisher. I'm not going to pretend otherwise. But it's like revitalized, and it's amazingly fabulous. I redid the email blast. I've got over 400 email subscribers. I sure would like 500, and I got all kinds of great stuff going on there. It's bringing back the Age to Perfection podcast, where I'll be interviewing lots of interesting people. You and I used to do that together.
We did.
As of this morning, my Q audiobooks, this idea that I've had for a year and a half, is up there now as a new one of several new features where I feature queer audiobooks or audiobooks for our audience that are of specific interest. Marshall Thornton's Femme is up there today. It's coming soon. Anyways, lots of great stuff. lgbtsr.com. Cruise on over, subscribe, and just get your feast every Friday. It's a Friday email with new content, and you open it up and you go, oh my gosh, I can't wait.
No, it's great. It's been around, and it's had its moments where you thought it was time to move on from it. But I was respectfully talking about it with my friend Mary Thelma yesterday, who was a guest of ours, by the way, on Age to Perfection, I believe.
Yes, yeah.
And she was saying, God, I love that about Mark. He just jumps in, he keeps it fresh, he knows the importance of it. So yeah, here's to lgbtsr.com and check out the new feature because I was your subject.
Oh, that's right. Another new feature. Oh my gosh, Rick, you're right.
And it's a good one.
I've got the Q audiobooks. I got the featured books. That's not new. But then I got I'm doing
a whole new series
in the spotlight. I wanted to do 50 over 50 going back about 2 or 3 years since we're on this topic. It was 50 people because I was so tired of getting these 30 under 30, 40 under 40 like you're young and amazing. Those lists come out every year. Forbes, that they all do that. Aren't these young people incredible? And I thought, no, there's a lot of older people who are doing fabulous stuff. So I wanted to do 50 over 50, but honestly, it's a huge undertaking. It's a lot of work. And, I just said this time I'm going to just spotlight people, when I have the time, when I have the energy. You're my first, in the spotlight, Rick Rose. There's going to be lots of great people. And anyways, that's a new feature there, and I'm so happy to have had you as the first in the spotlight this week.
Yeah, so check it out. Thank you for our sponsorship. Send pictures of the green room. We're just kidding, by the way, guys. We don't really have a green room.
Well, they know that, but we're so imaginative, you know. We live in our heads, and that's one of the things that I like about us.
Yeah, you should never get out of your head, because when you get out of your head, you get crazy. You know that. You got to stay in your head. I think that's how that goes. I don't know.
Well, just let your imagination run wild.
Let your imagination run wild. That sound of the bell means it's time for our red lines. These are hot, twisted topics that Mark and I take on, reading the headlines from the news, and that are a little twisted in themselves, or we interpret them in a twisted way.
Or they're just interesting. I'll start off here, and it's not really, I'm not going to get into this chick. Her name is Reality Winner. She's the leaker, the first leaker.
Oh, my God.
I do feel sorry for her because she's going away. I mean, Trump and the administration, but specifically our president, is so vindictive. I mean, this chick is going to prison. But, you know, by the way, let's be fair, Obama had really pursued leakers more than any previous president. So Obama was not, you know, a nicey nice guy when it came to this kind of thing. But anyways, this chick has been arrested. Why do I keep calling her that? It's not very, not fair.
Well, I like it.
But I love her name. It's Reality Winner. Like, I wouldn't make that up as a writer. I wouldn't make that up because I would think people would just think that's ridiculous. But she was a leaker from the NSA. She passed on some documents, and she's in big, big trouble. But I love the name.
Here's the title of this one, and it's going around still. Speaking of Trump's tweets, the meaning of the word kafifi in the Samoan language. That's right.
Oh, wow.
You didn't see this yet?
No, but I'm not surprised that he would speak that or understand or know that language.
Well, apparently he knows Samoan. Yes, this is the New Zealand version of it. It's spoken by about 200,000 people, I think. But the BBC alerted us recently that kafifi, as used by the President of the United States, is a Samoan word. A scholar and a graduate of the Center for Samoan Studies actually came out with this. And basically it means kav is similar to the Samoan word ka or ka. And when you combine it with fifi, it basically means kafifi, and I'm sure this is what our president meant, was pregnant but in fear of it.
Wow. And that I get it. I mean, I get where he's going with that.
It's crazy. But yeah, I saw a lot of images this week. I don't know if you saw that. My friend Emily Hugater, Fifi, I'm pregnant but in fear of it. My friend posted a picture from church this week. She goes to a Methodist church up in Oklahoma, and they said free kafifi for our visitors. Everyone's played with it, so
everybody has.
That's what it means.
Nevada legislature just passed a radical plan to let anybody sign up for Medicaid. I'm so into this. I hope the governor signs it. I have my doubts. He's a Republican.
Oh, this is good.
I assumed that they had a Republican legislature because it's Nevada. But anyways, their legislature just passed a bill last Friday, that would allow anyone to buy into Medicaid, the public program that covers low-income Americans. It's fabulous. First of all, it sort of circumvents the government, so the federal government, because it's not Medicare. And I just think it's an experiment that needs to happen, because I don't think that the Affordable Care Act is going to survive. I think, you know, speaking of not worrying and keeping perspective, I worry sometimes, like, where are Frank and I going to get health insurance next year? But anyways, the states need to step up, whether it's single payer, which is really difficult to do and probably not going to happen, or something like this where it's basically a public option. I think that's great, and if it goes in Nevada and it succeeds, what a lead for the rest of at least the blue states. The red states, man, they don't give a shit about their citizens. They really don't. So I don't ever expect to see this in a red state, although I thought Nevada was one. Anyways, kudos. It's
interesting, you know, our country's based on centralization and decentralization, you know, the states having rights, but then we as a unit, as the United States. And for a while there, you know, like when we were looking at same-sex marriages, it was all about, you know, what nationals going to do. Individual states made their choices, and kind of it always goes down to that. Even with marijuana, I was talking to friends last night about it. Certain states allow it and different things, and eventually it goes national. And let's hope that these positive things keep going on. Here's a topic, weird news. This is Mark. Hot barber, yeah, he's a good-looking guy. He's from Cairo. Styles client's hair with great balls of fire. You know, I always like to comment on a YouTube video, and I saw the video this gentleman saw when I read the story about this Cairo stylist. He actually got this idea to do a special haircut from watching a YouTube video. And now the subtitle says, now his business is heating up. He uses fire. He literally lights people's hair on fire to produce curls and shapes it that way. His name is Mohammed Hanafi, not to be confused with Kafifi. And the news station in China, in Africa, which is a branch of a Chinese state broadcaster, actually told the story and showed the video. The original video was based on a Pakistani barber who used a similar technique. But yeah, lights your hair on fire with a blowtorch.
I'm smelling it. You know have you ever smelled burnt hair?
Oh, singed hair. Yeah, I do it when I'm
hideous. But anyways, I also by the way, folks, I know you heard a couple sirens, and guess what? It will not happen again because after today, I will be podcasting from our New Jersey home where we are basically living now. But I'm in New York City. That's why you heard the sirens. Mm-hmm. Okay. Disposable wearable patch to detect sleep apnea. This is important to me because Frank is convinced that I have sleep apnea because I snore.
Ooh.
And I sometimes wake up with headaches and stuff like that, which is a symptom of it. But I've been putting it off because I don't want to go to some lab and have to spend the night there. It's really complicated how they diagnose it. But anyways, maybe not so much longer. There's a new patch. It's a skin adhesive diagnostic patch. Is that got a hole? I got to keep talking into the mic because it goes away sometimes. It records nasal pressure, blood oxygen saturation, pulse rate, respiratory effort, sleep time, and body positions without affecting the sleep of the user. So I'm going to pursue this. It's I'm hoping that it's affordable and that I don't know if it's even on the market yet, but I think it's a great advancement for those people like me who are like, it's not that I don't want to know that I have sleep apnea. It's that I just don't want to go through this. It's like people not wanting to get colonoscopies, which I don't have a problem with. I just don't want to go through the hassle of finding out if I have it.
Wow, let me know because my partner has the same thing, and I think it is sleep apnea, and I think his life would be far better. So, and he likes patches. So, this is a great one. A viral post went out there by a Norwegian man. What's his name? I'm just looking at Klaus Jorstad. He achieved viral fame last week when he posted a comment on IKEA's Norwegian Facebook page. He claimed that the Marius stool, it's a stool, S-T-O-O-L, it's an actual piece of furniture, trapped his nuts during a shower. That's right, Mark. IKEA has all those really unique designs and really unique names. Well, this particular thing, the Marius stool, if you go and look at this guy's post, or I think IKEA finally took it down, but it's like this thing you can sit on in the shower. When you shower, a little stool, and it's got these little holes in it, kind of like you've seen those designs on bar stools or whatever. I don't know why it's got it. It's just part of the design. And he claimed his nuts got caught in it. But as it turns out, he admitted later that it did not happen. It wasn't exactly, the truth, but he thought it was something that could happen in the shower, and he wanted to alert people. Crazy.
Oh my God. Rick,
I'm
cringing. No, I've got goosebumps and stuff. Speaking of sleeping, and this one is actually quite serious, and I'll explain it, but women sleep. It's called Women Sleeping Their Lives Away to Lose Weight. The Sleeping Beauty diet involves the use of sleep to avoid hunger, with some advocates going so as far as sedating themselves. It's been around for decades, but the fad is still growing strong. And then it says on pro-anorexia blogs. That's where, when I read that, I almost didn't use this as a headline.
Oh, God, I didn't know they existed.
No, and originally I thought I'd never heard of the sleep diet, which is why it caught my attention. But and then I read that it people who are desperate to lose weight, which includes anorexics, have been using this, where they basically keep themselves asleep most of the time. But and I have a sister who was anorexic, and for real back in the Karen Carpenter era. So I take it very seriously. I don't want to make fun of it in the least, but anyways, it was a headline.
Well, they do say sleep is really good for metabolism and how important it is to your weight control, for sure. Speaking of avoidance, here's my headline. I love this. You'll know why I love it, Mark, because I'm a Packer fan. Quarterback Aaron Rodgers, retweet, gets Iowa teens out of a final exam. The headline says Green Bay Packer either has a soft spot for students or a hatred of tests. Yeah, this happened in a school in Illinois, Janesville Consolidated School District. They made a deal. The students made a deal with their teacher, Laura Roberts, who is a huge fan of Aaron Rodgers, and said, if we can get him to retweet one of our tweets, whatever one he follows, can we get out of our exam? And she agreed to it because she said there's no way that he's going to see your tweet and retweet it. But he did on Thursday of last week. He agreed to go along with the game plan, and he found a tweet from one of the students, and he posted it. The kid's name is Peyton Mayer, and Aaron Rodgers retweeted and said, I'm sure a sports lit final is very important, but here you go. And he retweeted this tweet from Pay It Forward Friday. That's pretty funny.
Very nice of him.
Yeah.
California has taken a huge step towards legally recognizing non-binary people. The California State Senate passed a bill which would allow people to choose a third gender on official forms like driving licenses and birth certificates.
Oh, cool.
Currently, Californians who want to change their gender on government documents have to submit proof that they have undertaken medical treatment to change physically. So not only is this a change, but like it's a huge change. It's like basically I'm self-identifying on my driver's license. Pretty cool.
Well, that's cool. I got a couple Trump ones. This is a great one.
Oh, goody.
Oh, yeah, you know.
Can't get enough of him.
No, you can't. But this one's really, really good. I love it, Mark. It's here it is. Let me find the headline because I was just looking at the images. Go with it. Mexican lawyer markets Trump-branded toilet paper for a very good cause. The attorney's name is Antonio Battaglia.
I saw that.
He pledges that, he's going to donate 30% of the profits to support migrants. The toilet paper, he's posted pictures of it. El Papo Agencio Trump. It's got Trump's gold coiffed hair on it. The name Trump, there's 4 rolls to a pack. It's a prototype at this point, but when it does go live, he is reportedly planning to launch the toilet paper with 30% of the profits going toward financing programs that will support migrants and also Mexicans that have been deported back to their country. So,
well, if he's got anything left, he could use it to build a wall.
Or TP the wall once it goes up.
Yes, TP the White House.
TP.
American Airlines mistook a man's disability for drunkenness. I mean, we've heard so much about hideous airline stuff. If I could never never fly again, I would, because it used to be fun when I was a kid. Even when I was in my 20s, it was interesting. I remember flying to Milwaukee on Midwest Airlines, and they fed you with silverware and stuff. It was amazing. Now it's horrible. I can't stand the experience. But anyways, Michael Manella, a man who has used prosthetic limbs for say that really fast. Prosthetic limbs for 6 years.
Prosthetic limbs.
Alleges that he was removed. That's like Dorothy clicking her heels. Alleges that he was removed from a flight when crew members mistook his gait for intoxication. When American Airlines staff took a disabled man's gait for extreme intoxication, they rerouted the plane, called the police, and had him arrested. He alleges. Of course, everything is alleged now. You can't say anybody actually ever did anything. It's always alleged. Mm-hmm. But I'm not surprised that they would do that.
God, I miss Midwest Airlines. It was bought up by Frontier. I had 190,000 miles on it, Mark, because as you know, I lived in Wisconsin or traveled to and from Wisconsin a lot. And and then when I went to Frontier, they're like, well, we notified you these miles were going away if you didn't have activity within a year. And I didn't. So I lost 190,000 miles. And it was a great airline, though. Great food, salt and pepper shakers, the whole thing. Crystal ones, remember?
Yeah.
Champagne.
Is that your headline?
Surf and turf. No, my headline is this, using the word alleged.
Keeping this moving.
I know. I'm just like having a morning chat with you, Mark. Man allegedly steals security camera so grandma won't see him masturbate.
Oh, my God.
It's a touchy situation. Tristan Tucker of St. Albans. I think this is in Dunbar, or wherever that is. I think this might be out of Canada. But anyway, he was charged with a daytime burglary by the police department because he took out the security cameras. And when it got right down to it, he admitted why, because he had a weird feeling that, the cameras had recorded
Granny was watching him.
Touching his pee-pee, and grandma had seen it. And why the hell was he living with his grandma? God only knows. But
and why was she watching him beat off?
I don't think she was, Mark.
Is he the only weird one in his family?
Oh, it's so nasty. It's alleged, Mark. It's alleged.
I know you're going to do some food news, which I'm really excited about because you're so good at that. Here's one for you. Cupcake Wars. A blogger sues Food Network over snow globe recipe video. Did you see that?
Oh, no. Go ahead. I love this stuff.
Yes. Elizabeth LeBau. Her holiday cupcake recipe was so popular it crashed her food blog. She figured out how to make snow globe cupcakes by
that's
balloons
so cool.
and stuff. I'm not going to read the whole thing because it's too long.
Oh, I like it. I'm going to go look
So
at
she
pictures.
puts up a video, and it's really popular, and it's her. She does really well. Millions of viewers in December. And then it turns out the Food Network put up a similar one after that, and she's now suing them, claiming that they stole her idea.
I got to tell her, no idea is original. Come on, get over it. Be happy someone copied it.
You can't copyright cupcakes.
No, you can't copyright snow globes. Another internet thing that happened this week, you probably saw the story because, we like to talk about those that are over 50 years old. This 93-year-old bride, I was working out the other day and I saw this on CNN or something, but 93-year-old bride let the internet vote on her wedding dress. Have you seen this?
No, go ahead. What happened? Somebody voted on her dress?
Yeah, she's a 93-year-old lady, and she posted on the internet 4 options of her dress. They're all kind of in maroon-like colors.
Okay.
The internet went obsessive with option D. I don't know that the judging's over yet, but it's a woman who's in Australia who's marrying her lover, who's 88 years old, and
man or woman?
She's marrying a man.
Yeah, okay. It's not
yeah. We'll talk about that. Australia still doesn't have it. That'll tie with my newsfeed, by the way. Anyway, really cool. It's a sweet picture of her posing in her outfits, and the internet got to help her select her wedding outfit. 93 years old.
Bless her heart.
I love it.
I'm coming to my end here, which is, well, I got maybe 3-4 more. This is a disgusting one because, and I can talk about disgusting because I think I'll get there. But if you take your own cloth bags to the grocery store, I applaud you. But I am now a cashier, and I'm telling you, please wash them. Please wash them.
Oh.
It's disgusting. It's disgusting what is in the bottom of these bags. But anyways, how New York is turning food waste into composting gas. For decades, we've had blue and green bins here for recycling glass, metal, paper, and plastic. But now, brown bins for organic waste are starting to appear all over the city. They're part of a multi-million-dollar campaign to cut down on greenhouse gas emissions, regardless of what Trump said.
Trump says.
And yeah, it's weird. I haven't seen any, but I'm going to look now. I'm going to look for the brown bags, the brown bins.
I think we need a little segment on the show where it's like, stuff that comes from you as a checker, as a checkout boy.
I'm going to write a book about it. Can you imagine?
I mean, it's fascinating.
It'll be a bestseller.
God, well, I told you,
sure.
I always fantasized when scanners came out, Mark. I always fantasized that's what I want to do in my retirement. Did I ever tell you that?
No, but you could do it now.
I've always wanted to do it, but then I get creeped out because you know me. I don't like to touch money. I don't like to, like, if someone's returning $1 bill to me, guys, or a $10 bill or whatever, they have to put it in my pocket. I won't touch it. They have to literally.
That's all Howie Mandel kind of stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm creepy that way. You want to get to your destination bigly with your GPS, Mark? You can now because Trump's Voice is now an option on your GPS through a company called Carta GPS. They're offering you it's a navigation company. You can download this GPS system, and it will be Donald Trump's voice telling you how to get to where you're going. It's actually an impersonator of him doing it. It's not Alec Baldwin, but so they had things like if you want to go somewhere, it says "Go straight ahead. It's tremendous." Or another quote comes from it. "You have reached your destination. Let's make navigation great again." I think it's hilarious.
I'd probably drive into a tree listening to that. But I am. No, it's interesting. The stuff people do.
I think it's funny.
Wonder Woman. I got 3 more. Wonder Woman was created by the way, I didn't know, and I bet you very few people do. Wonder Woman, which is a huge movie right now, was created by a male feminist who loved bondage and matriarchy.
Yes.
His name was William Moulton Marston. Mm-hmm. He had 8 nonfiction books. Anyways, he was prolific, but this goes way back. And he was into bondage, and he was into women dominating him, and he invented Wonder Woman in part because of that. She was representative of his fetishes and his philosophy about women running the world. It was really interesting, and apparently there's a lot of scenes in the Wonder Woman comic books that are like bondage-like scenes, the early ones, because that's what he was into. So, anyways, I thought that was fascinating.
No, it's a good one. Yeah. I can tell you all about Wonder Woman. I was out with my friend LJ. Shout out to LJ, who's a huge fan.
Hey, LJ.
The movie has $100 million in its first weekend, directed by a female director.
Yeah,
written by this.
I wonder if she's into bondage.
Well, it's just tremendous. Tremendous, Mark.
It's tremendous. It's the greatest ever.
I can't believe I just used that word. Oh God, it's tremendous because on many levels, the movie is great, and they'll tell you why. I want to make my last headline really about Ariana Grande. Okay. So it's a little bit of a headline. Today's a big day. It's Wednesday when we're recording the show. It may go up on Thursday. Who knows? But the reality is, in the real world, not just in our heads, Mark, it is Wednesday. Tonight's a big night in music. Number 1, the CMT Awards are on it for a country music fan. Number 2, Ariana Grande, who I have loved and love even more of what's happened with her Manchester Love concert, One Love concert. She goes back on tour. Of course, many of us know, all of us probably know that on May 22nd, a terrorist attack happened where at the concert hall she was performing in Manchester, England, and 22 people were killed. So on May 22nd, she ceased the concert. She brought it back on Sunday with a very emotional benefit show, which raised more than $2.5 million for victims over 3 hours. And she is resuming her tour today in Paris. So Godspeed and safety for her. Some great moments, Mark. Police officer dancing with young fans. If you see any of the clips from the concert, absolutely incredible. You can Google search her speech about meeting victim Olivia Campbell's mother. I've always loved this woman. She's one of those young women that's like an old soul, if you know what I mean. I think she's always like been so just salt of the earth and incredible. Great imaging. He made a surprise appearance. Robbie Williams sang, who I haven't heard from Robbie Williams in forever, wearing a Justin Bieber tour hoodie. Some really cool things happened at the concert. But Bieber himself, as you know, got emotional if you haven't read that story. Great concert and a great thing for Ariana Grande. So we wish her best as she resumes her tour today.
I like her, by the way, and I had never heard of her. Well, Frank knew of her because he's in the business, or was in the business.
Yeah.
And may still be. I'll keep you posted. But from the country, not from the city.
Like it.
Anyways, but I first heard about her because her half brother was on the Big Brother,
yes.
Frankie Grande. So
yes.
Here's now. See, let's have a little instant production meeting online. I think it would be a good idea because that's your last headline for whoever of us is to use the last headline, our last headline, as to lead into the big idea, which is the big topic, which is what I'm going to do. My last headline is
let's do it.
Topic.
Okay,
we're going to do it right now.
Yep.
White House did not at this point acknowledge June as LGBT Pride Month as everyone else does. Now, it's June, it's Pride Month. In years past, I've been one of those people who thought, like, are we ever going to not do this anymore? Are we ever going to be done with these pride parades? But we had a president for 8 years who acknowledged our existence and our equality and our dignity. And yes, it matters. This is my big topic. Why does it matter? Because people might say, well, who cares that Trump, the administration didn't. What's so insulting is that they put out a statement acknowledging all this other crap. It's Caribbean American heritage, not crap. I mean, I take that back. You know what I mean? But they acknowledge June to honor Caribbean American Heritage Month, African American music, home ownership, the outdoors, and the ocean. And I think there may have been a couple of other things in there, but not the fact that June since 1969 has been our Pride Month, our month where we stand up, where we come out, we acknowledge our allies, we recognize and are recognized for our struggle. As a hated minority, which we were until recently. It was perfectly okay to hate gay people because the Bible told you so, and a lot of people still do. But much of our culture and society and parts of the world have evolved beyond that to understand that we're brothers and sisters and sons and mothers and daughters, and we're everywhere, and we're part of the social fabric. The community fabric, and it was acknowledged for 8 years. And then I was kind of surprised at how, like, I felt punched when I read that the administration wouldn't even say it. I'm not surprised, and I don't think it's even necessarily Trump who's behind it, because he has put, and I'm not hesitant. First of all, I'm not hesitant to say that he has put into place people that I consider Christian jihadists. I know lots of fine Christians. I know queer Christians. My church that I went to for many, many years is a queer Christian church. So it's not about me being down on Christianity at all. But there's a form of Christianity that to me is every bit as virulent and eager to run the world as any strain of Islam, except they're not blowing people up at this point. Anyways, but you got Mike Pence, you got Betty DeVos, you got all these jihadists in there who basically think that I'm equivalent to a pedophile. And of course they're not going to acknowledge LGBT Pride Month. They did tell the embassies later that they were free to recognize it, which was great. But it was a punch in the gut, and it was like, God, I'm tired of being proud. That was the headline for our podcast, because I always pick three things. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of having to do this, tired of having to be this, tired of having to like wake up once again, you know, be woke one more time to the fact that we can be harmed pretty quickly and pretty easily, just like we're not going to be part of the census. We're not going to be part of this. You know, they're just fucking us in so many ways. So yeah, more than in recent years, it's time to be proud and to stand up and, as weary as we might be, say, you know, it's not over. It's not over. It may never be over. But anyways, that was my big topic.
No, it's one that's definitely needed. We talked about it when the president was elected about these topics on this show, and many people did, about what it means to be gay and what you know, what it means to be older, what it means to be a woman, what it means to be all this stuff with things disappearing. I think you bring up a really good. That's what I love about you and our 30 years of discovering life together, Mark. Is that you bring up a really good point. I think that the challenge with this current presidency and administration is, you know, it's like with Obama, or it's like with whoever's in that executive office. You've got their people too, and I think that the danger here is that you've got a madman, if you will, out tweeting and doing all these weird things and representing our country as the figurehead of our country and doing weird things in of itself. You know, some heavy discussion about, is this man crazy? But then at the same time, you got his administration, and I think the conversations with friends are like, okay, so let's say he does quit or get impeached or whatever craziness comes from his, you know, presidency in the public spotlight. You still got to deal with his administration. And for a while there, we thought his comments about Bannon, you know, when there was a Kushner-Bannon challenge, was, oh, Bannon's just a guy that works for me. That's the crazy Trump talking. But the reality is now Bannon's got major power. And so we think as the president's putting him in his place, he's really not. He's still there. He's still making decisions. And the big fear, of course, Pence will then become our president, because that's the way it works. And we are going to be stuck with the same stuff that's going on that level of the presidency, if you know what I mean. I think you bring up a really good point. He is not just him. It's just some of the people behind him, and that is a scary thing.
Yeah, I don't think he gives a shit one way or the other whether the White House acknowledges queer pride.
No,
I mean, if he wanted to do it, he would do it. He doesn't care. It's not coming from him. A lot of stuff's not coming from him, and people don't. Those of us who are intelligent and observant understand that.
You know, and I agree, and I still, but by no means am I implying I don't want this gentleman impeached. I do want Bush. I want him to
resign. I don't want him impeached.
I want him to resign, get impeached, quit, whatever he does. I just want him gone, and then we'll deal with the craziness that exists. But to a reminder of folks, you know, we as a people, a country, have elected a complete administration, and you know,
we always do. And I want to end this because a super fan said you guys were great. You were only 30 minutes long. It's okay. Plus, he's not worth our podcast. I don't want to spend our podcast on this man. But I've always been aware that when I vote, I'm not just voting for the person. And so many people don't understand that in this country. Go like, oh, I don't like Trump. I don't like Hillary. She's Hillary. He's this. They don't get it, or they don't accept the responsibility of voting for an administration. That's what you're voting for.
Right.
You know,
that's what we're not really giving us time to that. I'm giving time to your point, which is, guys, be proud, stay out there and celebrate our pride no matter what. And that it is very important. All right. My last thoughts. Well, do we have time?
I'm not going to cut you off.
Well, and I worry. How long are we into the show? I'm not watching.
I mean, with our little chat in the beginning, we got probably another less than 10 minutes.
Okay, well, this will go fast. I just want to bring up, because you did tease our audience that I'm going to have some food headlines for my subject, or some food thoughts, because things trend, and I love food trends. So we're not going to make people wait. We're going to talk about them. They're brief. A study came out, so about 4 or 5 things in the food world, and I'll keep them short. But a study recently came out, hadn't been done ever. 2017 marked the first year that the Securities and Exchange Commission required public companies to publish the ratio of CEO compensations to median worker compensation, which we often talk about. I work for a big company. My position was eliminated this week, folks. We won't get into all that. That's Mark and I talk on the side. But, you know, the conversation always goes back to me, but the people laying me off still have their jobs, and they're still doing it to cut the cost so they can look good in their budgets, so they make their money to move on. There's always a disparity, as we know, between those way above and those doing the work for a company. But this one's a really interesting ratio, Mark. I don't know what you think it would be, but What do you think the racial difference is between that gentleman or gentlewoman serving you a Big Mac at a McDonald's, for point of reference, and the CEO of that company? How much difference do you think to the dollar? If
500,
you know what I'm saying,
minimum of 500.
66 to $1. I mean, that's still huge. No, but that's still huge. Think about it. Yeah. McDonald's CEO Steve Easterbrook made $1.26 million as a base salary, or 74 times as much as the company's lowest paid workers, who average $17,000 a year. And then it goes on. The story breaks it out too. I'm a huge Dunkin' Donuts fan, as you know, but Nigel Travis, their CEO, takes a whooping 9 cents to every dollar you spend. 9 cents of that at Dunkin' Donuts goes to him directly. Isn't that crazy?
Frank hates them anyways. So
yeah, what, hates McDonald's or hates?
No, Dunkin' Donuts, because I applied there, and the two of them, and they said they were going to call me, never did. He hates them. Go ahead.
Well, now I'm pissed because I go there all the time. I have a loyalty card there, but it's just interesting. Okay, a couple other stories that come out of the food news. Taco Bell's, people don't know this. Speaking of McDonald's, they went to that McCafe concept and really helped revive them to redesign their stores more like a coffee house or a Starbucks. Taco Bell is launching this new concept called Cantina. They're Taco Bell Cantinas. There are only 11 of them so far in the country. But, Mark, they serve adult slushies. That's alcohol-driven slushies.
Wow.
The food menu is different. It's more tapas-style Mexican food to share with your friends.
Who serves this?
This is Taco Bell Cantina.
Oh, okay. All right. So they got a
one in San Francisco, license. Chicago, in the big cities. There's 11 of them going on, and they're finding that it's making them big money. So it's Taco Bell Cantinas. Look for them in your neighborhood. Story that came out last week, and they're still following it. That poisonous gas station, Nachos, left one dead and 9 hospitalized in California. Yeah. Well, they figured out it was a foodborne illness. It was botulism is actually what it was. Very, very interesting. Also, Ben & Jerry's is fighting for marriage equality in Australia. That was a story you wanted to bring up. We talked about earlier. They're banning ice cream orders where if someone comes into a Ben & Jerry's store, a retail store, and wants 2 scoops of the same flavor, they won't allow it.
Really?
Yeah. They're making their statement. Says, hey, if you're not allowing 2 same-sex people to get married, we're not going to give you the same scoop of ice cream. So that's their way of coming down on Australia to get the people in an uproar. And lastly, the internet is furious about Trix cereal's color change. We've talked about this on our show as foods are going more and more natural and taking natural colorings out. And, Subway, for instance, is all unprocessed foods, et cetera, et cetera. Trix lost its color. Trix is no longer for kids. The color change has made it more adult-like, and people are posting pictures and saying, bring back the color because they're, more mute, dull-colored foods.
Oh, cool.
That's my food news, Mark.
I like it, Rick. That's your beat. You got to do it more often.
It's my beat. Now, final thoughts from you and a final quote from me. What you got? What's on your mind?
Yeah, we'll keep it short.
Burning you up?
And also, anyways, you already know that. It's also a bandwidth thing. So, storage thing.
I know.
So,
we only have so many minutes.
Yeah, so many minutes. I was just going to say, like Facebook, they're just ever more desperate. And couple quick things that I really don't like about Facebook. And then you're like, well, why are you still on it? And because, like, I can't help myself. No, but I got pages. I got the LGBT senior page. We got the Twist page. I got my author page. I got pages there. So, like, even if I just wanted to disappear for a while, you can't do that when you have a page that doesn't have another administrator. So, anyways, Facebook. They know I'm gay, right? They know these algorithms know everything about us. We know we know that from the ads. I'm so tired, Facebook, if you're listening, please stop throwing men's underwear ads at me with these torsos, with these hot torsos in their packages in men's underwear. I stopped thinking with my dick a long time ago, and it really offends me that apparently if you're a gay man, you want to look at hot white male torsos in their underwear. I don't. The other thing that they do this now that everybody's doing it, I don't know if you're doing it, Rick, please don't be offended. And I don't want any of my friends to be offended by this, but if what you're saying is so boring that you have to, like doll it up with these colored shit and giant font, like think about that. I can't stand it. I will never do that. Now you can like do your little like, just saw Wonder Woman, amazing movie, right? That's your status update, but it's in like this giant orange thing or blue or red, and your font's really big. Like, what the fuck is that? I hate it. I will never do it. Please kill me if I do.
And there
The last thing is this friendversary, and apparently they've been doing this for like a year and a half, but I hate that shit too. Like, oh, Mark, you and Rick have been Facebook friends for 5 years, and we just did a video. It's like, fucking come on. I don't care. It's like they're desperate. They just seem desperate to keep us hooked into their Facebook shit because they're getting
your
old.
Friendship doesn't matter. What matters is your Facebook friendship.
Yeah, the anniversary doesn't matter.
Facebook.
Facebook is 10 years old. They're getting old, and the kids aren't interested. They're doing Instagram. They're doing Snap shit. They're doing all kinds of stuff. Facebook has got it like they got to keep us, so they keep coming up with this cutesy shit. And it's like I want to just overdose on it. So that's it. Now you got a quote. Go.
No, quick production meeting here. I like this. I think our final thought should be like our final peeve or our final jumping off the cliff moment.
And the headlines are going to be headlines galore because nobody knows what red lines means. I'm dropping that.
Oh, good.
And then lastly, I think for time, just let's do 6. Let's do 6 apiece each week, and then we can have more time on our topics.
Good. Thank you guys for being our guinea pig audience.
Everybody, thank you for listening to our production meeting.
Test the show, yes. I never liked the word red lines. Now you're going to be bothered by it. I've never questioned you on it. I just didn't like it.
I liked it because in my head it rhymed with red lines, but we're done with it.
Well, I liked it because you liked it. Anything you like, I like.
Yeah,
because we've been Facebook friends now. For 5 years.
Let's do our friendversary.
Our friendversary, all right. Bring it home, and our quote always does relate back to something on the show. It's gay pride and being prideful. Here's a shout out to Billboard Magazine. Billboard Magazine did love letters. For those that haven't heard, they were letters that have been written by many, many people to the LGBT community. Barbra Streisand wrote a letter. It goes Adam Lambert. The list is amazing. But this is a love letter written by a member of the LGBTQ community, a podcaster, and a trans activist named Janet Mock. She launched.
I know Janet. I mean, I don't know Janet, but I totally know.
But you know her work.
Oh, absolutely.
I love it. She wrote a book called Surpassing Certainty, which you know. But she also has a podcast which she launched on May 30th, and we talked about it when we ran down a list of gay podcasts. It's called Never Before. Yeah, you should interview on her show. Lena Dunham is producing that for her. It launched May 30th. But here's my final quote. Our final quote for the show comes from the mouth of Janet Mock in her love letter from Billboard Magazine. You can read them all by going to billboard.com. They're really fascinating, but here it is. Pride Month is always a reminder for me to reflect on our collective struggle toward freedom, which stretches back to that night in 1969, when a bunch of Queens street youth, trans and queer folk resisted against policing and a culture of containment. I am reminded that as we celebrate Pride, we cannot forget the thousands who have sacrificed their bodies and their lives for us. And I uplift those of you who are still with us, who are struggling, striving, and slaying in the shadows. I celebrate you, admire you, appreciate you, and am committed to fighting daily to ensure you are able to live, love, and dream out loud. Thank you for the affirmation you have given me, for teaching me and challenging me, for pushing me and applauding me, and for always keeping it all the way real. You are my heroes. Those are the words from Janet Mock.
Awesome quote to end this show on, Rick. Thank you so much. Everybody, we love you as our listeners, and we invite you to just keep coming back and spread the word. We'll be back in a week or so with another Twist, America's only clothing optional podcast. I'll talk to you.
See ya. Bye, guys.